a child's whimper, barely audible above the lobby's ambient music. Marcus slowed his pace, his instincts pulling him toward the hotel's cafe entrance. What he saw made his blood run cold despite the warmth flooding through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Two little girls, neither older than 7 or 8, knelt on the pristine white tiles. Their clothes, a faded yellow dress on one, a too small pink shirt on the other, marked them as distinctly out of place in this temple of wealth. Between them sat a shattered coffee cup, dark liquid spreading like an accusation across the floor. Above them loomed a man in a manager's uniform, his face twisted with contempt that seemed to age him beyond his years. "I said clean it with your tongue," the manager hissed, loud enough for Marcus to hear but quiet enough to avoid drawing attention from the scattered breakfast guests. "Your mother's paycheck won't cover this cup. It's Italian porcelain, so unless you want her fired for your clumsiness..." The smaller girl, with braids tied with mismatched ribbons, began to cry silently. The older one, her sister, Marcus assumed, wrapped a protective arm around her while staring at the brown puddle with the kind of resignation no child should ever know. Something inside Marcus cracked open. Not the polite concern of a wealthy man observing poverty from a safe distance, but a deep, visceral memory. He was suddenly 7 years old again, standing in his aunt's restaurant kitchen, his mother's hands raw from scalding water, her eyes hollow from 16-hour shifts. He remembered the customer who'd thrown a plate at her feet, remembered the owner who'd made her clean it up while apologizing for existing. "Excuse me." Marcus's voice cut through the moment like a knife through silk. "Is there a problem here?" The manager spun around, and Marcus watched his expression cycle through surprise, recognition, and finally, calculated smoothness. Everyone in the hospitality industry knew Marcus. Chen, his venture capital. Firm had stakes in half the luxury hotel chains in North America. "Mr. Chen..." "No problem at all, sir. Just a small incident with the housekeeping staff's children. It'll be handled immediately." The manager's smile was oil-slick smooth. "Can I escort you to..." "I asked if there was a problem," Marcus repeated, moving closer. He knelt down, bringing himself eye-level with the two girls. Up close, he could see the older one's fingers were bandaged, the cheap adhesive peeling at the edges. The younger one clutched a small stuffed elephant, its fur worn thin from years of comfort-giving. "What are your names?" The older girl glanced nervously at the manager before whispering, "Sophia, and this is my sister Lily." "Sophia and Lily." Marcus nodded as if filing away critical information. "Beautiful names. Did you break this cup?" Lily's bottom lip trembled. I wanted to surprise Mama. She works so hard. I thought I could bring her coffee. But I'm not tall enough, and it slipped, and now this Italian porcelain is destroyed," the manager interjected, his voice hardening. "Do you know how much it costs?" $200 per place setting. Their mother, Maria, has been here 3 months. "This is exactly the kind of..." "How much does Maria make an hour?" Marcus stood up, his 6-foot frame suddenly seeming much taller. The manager blinked. "I don't see how that's..." "Humor me." $14 an hour. Marcus did the math instantly, a skill that had made him his first million. "So you were going to make a woman who earns $14 an hour pay $200 for a cup. That's 14 hours of work. Nearly 2 full shifts." He pulled out his phone. "And you were going to make her children lick the floor of a hotel where hundreds of people walk every day as what? Punishment? Entertainment?" "Mr. Chen, with all due respect, we have standards. If we let the staff think they can be careless..." "Where's Maria now?" "She's on the 6th floor cleaning the presidential suite." Marcus tapped his phone screen. "Get her down here now and bring me your general manager." The color drained from the manager's face. "Sir, I don't think that's necessary. I was simply trying to maintain discipline. These children need to learn that actions have consequences." "You're right about consequences." Marcus's voice was quiet, but something in it made even the distant guests turn their heads. "Call them now." 10 minutes later, a woman in a housekeeping uniform practically ran into the cafe, her face etched with panic. Maria couldn't have been older than 35, but hard living had settled into the lines around her eyes. Behind her came the general manager, Gregory Walsh, whose practiced smile faltered when he took in the scene. "Mrs. Ramirez," Marcus said gently, Your daughters didn't break anything. There was an accident, yes, but accidents happen, especially when children are trying to do something kind. Maria's eyes filled with tears. Please, Sir, I need this job. My husband, he died 2 years ago. I have 3 children. Sophia and Lily, they're good girls. You're not losing your job, Marcus interrupted. He turned to Gregory. Mr. Walsh, I assume you're familiar with my firm's investments? Gregory's face went pale. Yes, sir, of course. Chen Ventures has significant holdings in our parent company. Then you'll be interested to know that I'm adding a new condition to our continued partnership. First, this man, Marcus gestured to the manager, whose smugness had evaporated entirely, is fired. Effective immediately. His severance will be the legal minimum. Mr. Chen, the manager spluttered. You can't just... Second, Marcus continued as if he hadn't spoken. Maria Ramirez is promoted to supervisor. Her new salary will be $25 an hour, with full benefits including child care assistance. Third, you will implement a company-wide policy. Any manager who humiliates, degrades, or abuses staff members or their families will face immediate termination. No second chances. The cafe had gone completely silent. Even the espresso machine seemed to be holding its breath. Gregory Walsh swallowed hard. Mr. Chen, while I appreciate your concern, we have protocols for personnel decisions. I can't simply... Marcus pulled up his phone again. That's fine. I'll call my legal team and have them begin divestment proceedings. I'm sure your board of directors will understand when our $200 million stake finds a more ethical home. The silence stretched like taffy. Finally, Gregory exhaled. Consider it done, all of it. My sincerest apologies, Mrs. Ramirez. And to you, girls. Marcus knelt down again, meeting Sophia's wide eyes. Sophia, Lily, I want you to remember something. When people treat you like you're less than others, like you don't matter, they're telling you about themselves, not about you. Do you understand? Sophia nodded slowly. Lily whispered, Are you an angel? For the first time that morning, Marcus smiled, a real smile that cracked through the billionaire armor. No, sweetheart. I'm just someone who remembers what it's like. He stood and pulled out his wallet, extracting his business card and a small piece of paper. He wrote quickly and handed both to Maria. This is my personal assistant's contact information. Call her tomorrow. I have a foundation that provides college scholarships for children of single parents. Sophia and Lily are now enrolled full ride any school they get into. Maria's legs seemed to give out. She sat down hard on one of the cafe chairs, clutching the papers like they might disappear. Why would you? Because 35 years ago, my mother cleaned hotel rooms too, Marcus said quietly, and a stranger showed her kindness when she needed it most. That stranger paid for my private school education. Without him, I wouldn't be standing here. He looked at Gregory. We're done here. I trust you'll handle the transition smoothly. As Marcus walked away, he heard Lily's small voice. Mama, why are you crying? Because sometimes, mija, angels do come. Sometimes they come exactly when you need them most. Marcus didn't stop walking, but his hand went to his chest pocket where he kept a faded photo. His mother, young and tired, in a housekeeping uniform. On the back, she'd written, Remember where you came from. Remember who helped you rise. Pass it on. He had forgotten, somewhere between the board meetings and the penthouses. But 2 little girls with bandaged fingers and worn stuffed animals had reminded him of the most important investment any human being can make, in each other's dignity. As the elevator doors closed, Marcus was already on the phone with his assistant. There was work to do, real work, the kind that actually mattered.